The last season stands before us, and we'll have to strengthen the squad to have a chance of winning the biggest trophy of them all. We start by bringing in 3 youngsters, a backup goalie in Fulvio Soliani for 15.25 million from Sao Paulo, Matthew Onana, what's my name, for 11.75 million from Freiburg, and finally Edgar Venegas for 7.25 million from Club Leon. The latter is already a leading Bundesliga player, and we will adjust our tactic in order for him to play in his preferred position. He was genuinely just found by our scouts. I had nothing to do with it. So fair play to them, I guess. We then sign a few more experienced players. We bring in Nathan Collins for 67 million from Brentford, Mark Gay for 54 million from Crystal Palace, Victor Christiansen for 35 million from Bologna, and finally Carlos Soler on a free. We have sold quite a few guys as well. We've sold our club captain and legend, Ludovic Reis, to Alveda for 22.5 million. I didn't really want to sell him, but I couldn't give him the playing time anymore, so he kind of wanted to leave. We then sold Weston McKennie for 30 million to Al Ittihad, some good profit for 6 months at the club to be fair. And then Jonathan Tah wanted to go to the Prem, so West Ham bought him for 33 million, moving up to 38. I didn't really want to sell him either, but he wanted to leave, and it is some serious money for a 31-year-old. And the final 2 sales was Antonis Christodoulou to Arsenal for 45 million and Mike Wazowski to Fiorentina for 15 million.
So I can get
I was actually enjoying myself.
Please, why can't we just forget all about it?
That really wasn't fun.
Come on, give me a break. I'm new in this country.
Oh, man.
I had enough of this.
We start the season by getting the message that 5 of our players are going to the Olympics. So that's brilliant. But after that, we head into 2 games where trophies are on the line. We're facing Dortmund in the German Super Cup and Bayern in the UEFA Super Cup. Against Dortmund, we take an early lead through Shaq, before Fatawu equalized for them. 2 minutes later, we take back the lead, as Shaq scores again. And late on in the second half, we scored twice more through Chanuson and Shaq, who gets his hat-trick. So we start the season with a trophy. And against Bayern, they take an early lead through Sane. We then equalize, before they score again. Right before the break though, we scored to equalize again. Cordero then scored right after coming on to give us the lead for the first time. And that was it. We win 3-2 against Bayern to start the season with 2 trophies. Life is good at Hamburg at the moment. You might have seen that it's been Mikael Seifert lifting the trophies, and that is because we've made him our club captain. He's proved himself as an incredible leader at such a young age, and I'm getting some serious Delict vibes from him. The first 5 games of the season, we win 3, draw 1 and lose 1. We start by scraping a 1-0 win against Leverkusen. We then lose 2-1 against Bayern as Doku scored a winner. We then hit back with a 4-1 win against Hertha Berlin as Shaq got himself a brace. We then ran over Köln, before drawing 3-3 with Hannover of all teams. Now we're heading into Champions League football for the first time since the 2006-07 season. We're against Lens at home and I'm expecting a win. Well, it didn't really start as I expected, as we went 2-0 down within 11 minutes. We then reduced the arrears in the 19th through Shaq. And not long after the break, we equalized and took the lead within 2 minutes. Gehi, of all people, scored with this brilliant finish to equalize. And Chanuson scored this pen to take the lead. So we complete a great comeback, and we win 3-2 in the end to claim our first ever UCL League phase win.
What are you doing? Bloody mince pie defending! About as useful as a mince pie swimming through custard. Shite! Absolute shite!
Next up is Galatasaray away. It was a dull game which disappointingly ended 1-1. Özkan scored this for the hosts, and Shaq scored this for us to at least rescue something. The 2 next league games was a rollercoaster of emotions. First, we win very deservedly 4-2 against newly promoted Düsseldorf. Serdan, Chanuson, Silas and an own goal made up our goals. We then got absolutely hammered by Stuttgart. We lost 5-2 in a shocking performance. So with that loss, I thought it was time to change our tactic. We're changing to one of our original tactics actually, as we're playing in a 4-4-2 diamond. That sort of worked, but also not. We do win the next 2 league games, but only just. We win 2-1 against both Frankfurt and Augsburg in 2 relatively disappointing performances. Against Augsburg we were 1-0 down at the break. But when I returned to our old tactic, the 5-back, we scored twice in the second half and won the game. So I've decided to permanently return to our old tactic.
Should have put Pep Guardiola's team 1-0 down. Not taken, but...
We've got Dortmund at home in the next game, the 10th league game. They get a straight red after 5 minutes, as Kaki put this horrible challenge in on Shaq. But just 2 minutes later, they scored. Thankfully, we scored 3 times before the break, all of them from Shaq. But as the last thing to happen in the first half, Seifert gave the ball to Timber to score on a basically open goal. We then conceded once more, as Reina scored this long shot in the 80th, so we draw 3-3 against 10-man Dortmund. That's really quite disappointing. But after 10 league games, we're actually in second. You would not have thought that with the results we've had. But here we are. We're 2 points behind Bayern in first, as we just drew while they won. Going back to the UCL, we've got Manchester City at home now. Doyle gave them the lead with this lucky bouncing shot. Coyote then missed this chance before Edison pulled off this save. In the 64th, Venegas played this horrific pass back to Soliani. So Gyökeres scored to double their lead. Silas then missed this huge chance straight after, and we lose 2-0. We had 2.26 XG, while they had 0.96. That's horror.
Yeah, I hope so, mate, but every time I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, it's usually been an oncoming train.
Thankfully, we bounced back with a 3-1 win away to Nice. Chanhusen scored just 21 seconds into the game. Thuram then scored the equalizer for them 3 minutes later. But we scored twice more in the first half through Shaq and Venegas with this great finish. So a 3-1 win to get back to winning ways in Europe. We've now got Bluneri in the 5th league phase game. A masterclass from Karnesecki meant that Bluneri scammed their way to a 0-0 draw. The final UCL league phase game before Christmas is away to Arsenal at the Emirates. Saka quite literally ran rings around us in a very disappointing performance from us. The Englishman scored twice as we lost 2-0. The 3 next league games were disappointing to say the least. First, we draw 1-1 against Hoffenheim as Duarte scored our only goal as Noel gave him the ball.
Whoa, come on man, get a grip, you're coming apart!
We then lost 2-0 against Mainz before finally hitting back with a 4-1 win against newly promoted Darmstadt. Chanhusen got himself a brace with this pen and a nice finish. Now it's time for Nagelsmann versus Nagelsmann 5. And it is once again an important game for our title chances. Yeah, it wasn't really that great. We drew 0-0 in one of the dullest games I've seen in a long time. The final 2 games before the Christmas break, we win 1-0 against Wolfsburg as Chanhusen scored this insane free kick, and 2-0 against Freiburg as Serdan and Terzic scored 1 each. Now we've sold Region to Alcadia for 12.5 million as we just don't need him, to be honest. And he's obviously been out for 7 months, so it's actually a good fee for him. And with that money, we signed Brazilian wonder kid Wesley for 21.5 million from Grêmio. He's an insane wonder kid, and one my scouts actually just found. I guess that's a nice thing with a good scouting network. And in the final league game of the first half of the season, we win deservedly 2-0 against Union Berlin after scoring twice in the closing stages. So after 17 league games at the halfway point, we're in first. We've performed very well lately, and have also managed to pick up results despite not being at our best, which is a very good skill to have. It is, once again though, very tight this season, and there's only 5 points splitting the top 6, so everything can go wrong very quickly.
Yeah, also enjoy. Whoa, we're close now.
Before heading into the final 2 UCL league phase games, we lose 3-1 against Bayern. Vanner, Bowie and Kimmich scored their goals, while Shaq got our only goal. But back to Europe, we win 4-1 against FC Copenhagen to secure our place in a knockout playoff round. Wesley scored a brace in his first ever UCL game in a 4-1 win. We then just about won 2-1 against Monaco as Shaq and Silas scored our goals. That means we get 13th in the Finnish league phase standings. We've secured top 16 with those 2 wins, so hopefully we can get an easier draw. The next 2 league games we smash both Bayer Leverkusen and Hertha Berlin. We start by dismantling Leverkusen 5-1 as Sedan and Chanusson got a brace each. And against Hertha Berlin we scored 4 in the first half to get a 4-0 win. We've sold Carlos Soler as well, by the way, for 6 million to Al Riyadh. He's not really played too much, and we don't really need him. But that would turn out to be very false.
Very false. Very false. True. No, very false. It's so false. It's very bad.
The DFB Pokal games have gone under the radar so far, so here it comes. We smashed semi-pro side Neustrelitz 7-0 in the first round, before barely getting past Dynamo Dresden 1-0 in the second. We then won convincingly 3-0 against Mainz to secure our place in the quarters, where we'll now face Werder Bremen. They have plummeted down the leagues, and are in the Dritte Liga now, so I'm expecting a win. I got that, but only just. Chanusson scored this pen in the 66th to give us the lead, but in the 80th they equalized. Thankfully though, Seifert stepped up and scored with this insane finish into the top corner to win it for us. I know I didn't mention it, but Barrios got injured after just 6 minutes against Werder Bremen, and is out for 3 months with a broken ankle. So selling Soler might just have been the most stupid thing I've ever done. But we did manage to bring someone in on deadline day. We've brought in Kai Havertz on a loan until the end of the season from Arsenal, and he'll rotate with Sedan until Barrios comes back from injury. The next 2 league games we draw 1-1 against Köln and win 4-2 against Hannover. Wesley scored our only goal against Köln, and one of the goals against Hannover was this hilarious own goal.
Are you dumb?
Now it's time for the Champions League knockout playoff round. We've been drawn into... Bluneri. Away from home in the first leg, we take the lead very early through Shaq. Wesley! Oh! Shaq! Yes! In the 59th, Van der Voort comes out to kick the ball away. But he misses, and Lautaro Martinez has an easy job of scoring. But thank fuck, cause it's offside. Van der Voort then made up for his mistake by saving a pen in the 83rd. So we win 1-0 away to Bruneri. Before the second leg, we win very easily 2-0 against Düsseldorf in a routine game. Viper scored both, by the way. In the second leg, we perform at the highest level I've ever seen this team. We score 5 unanswered goals to win 6-0 on aggregate, and absolutely humiliate Pep Guardiola and his super team. Shaq scored a hat-trick, and Chanusson got the other 2. Considering the length of the highlights. Oh, Shaq picks up the loose ball, and Kanaseki is so far out. Let's go! Shaq scores again. Vamos! That's his hat-trick! Before going into the round of 16, we have Stuttgart in the league. And it's a big game, as they're currently in second. We score 3 goals without an answer. But in the 73rd, Weigl scored this outrageous long shot. And in the 90th, Chanak Soy scored to make it nervy in added time. But thankfully, we win 3-2 in the end.
I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a bit shaky, you know what I mean? I'm a little bit weak.
We've been drawn against current Premier League leaders Liverpool in the round of 16. It's a very difficult draw, but after that second leg performance against Inter, we can genuinely beat anyone. In the first leg, we go 1-0 down after 18 minutes. Sedan and Viper then missed these huge chances before Acuna hit the bar in the 64th. But 11 minutes later, Chanusson scored from Acuna's pass across after Joe Gomez failed to clear it properly. And in the 93rd minute, Acuna scored to give us a 2-1 win to take to Anfield. Against Frankfurt, before our second leg against Liverpool, we draw 1-1. A disappointing game. And that draw means that we're actually still in first after 25 league games. We do only have a 2-point gap down to Stuttgart in second though, so it's still tight. Away at Anfield for the round of 16 second leg, Liverpool took the lead early on. And then 20 minutes later, Szoboszlai scored for the Reds to take the lead. Not long after the break, Acuna hit the post from a position he really should be scoring. Just under 10 minutes later though, Seifert scored this header to equalize. Nothing else happened in normal time, so we're heading into extra time. Trent hit the post with this curler in the 94th, and then we concede to Emerson Royale in the 107th. We left a sea of space open for him, and he easily scored. Viper and Shaq missed a huge chance each, so we lose 4-3 on aggregate in the end, and our Champions League dream is shattered in a million pieces. They are top of the Premier League to be fair, so it isn't the absolute worst, but it still hurts, man. But at the same time, we can now put all our focus on retaining both the domestic titles.
Well, to be honest, Jimmy, I don't think that's any of your business.
Against Augsburg in the next game, we win 3-1 as Havertz scored with this brilliant finish to get his first goal for the club. We then lost 3-0 against Dortmund in a game we had nothing. So now we only have a single point down to both Dortmund and Bayern. We then win the next 3 league games against Hoffenheim, Mainz and Darmstadt. We won 4-1 against Hoffenheim, as Chanusson scored a brace and Coyote scored this banger. We then just about won 1-0 against Mainz as Coyote scored with this great finish, basically identical to the one against Hoffenheim. And finally we won 3-1 against Darmstadt as Chanusson, Shaq and Tarsic got our goals. Those 3 wins means we're still in first after 30 league games, but it's still only by a single point ahead of Dortmund. And we look set for another year of us against Dortmund for the title. But first, we're facing exactly Dortmund in the semi-final of the DFB Pokal. Nothing happened for a long time, and the first real chance was this screamer which Mansverk scored. 3 minutes later, Chanusson scored this outrageous volley. But it was offside. Brandt then scored in the 88th to double their lead. Acuna did get a consolation goal a minute later, but it was too late, and we're out of the DFB Pokal to Dortmund.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
We've now got RB Leipzig away in the 31st league game. A huge game for our title chances. And we have to win. It's also Nagelsmann versus Nagelsmann 6. It's currently 2-2, plus a draw, so this decides who has the better career as it is our final game against Nagelsmann's rival. It was an insane start to the game, as we took the lead, they equalized, and we took the lead again, all in the first 14 minutes. Tarsic then scored this header in the 44th. And we then had a highlight straight from kickoff, and Christensen won the ball high up the pitch, which Shaq then scored this chip over Grabara to make it 4-1. And to put the cherry on top, Chanusson scored in the 61st after this brilliant 1-2 between him and Shaq. We win 5-1 against RB Leipzig. What an insane performance! And Nagelsmann has officially outdone Nagelsmann in his career. 3-2 to Nagelsmann, and Nagelsmann is washed.
I am inevitable.
Nagelsmann. The next 2 league games we win deservedly and easily 3-0 against Wolfsburg and 4-2 against Freiburg. Against Wolfsburg, Chanusson, Acuna and Viper scored our goals. And against Freiburg our goals came from Chanusson, Acuna and a brace from Coyote of all people. Now it's time for the very final game of the season, and the final game of this incredible save and journey with Hamburger. We need to win to secure the title, and we're away to Union Berlin. We start by missing 2 good chances from Collins and Viper. But Viper then scored with this thundering finish a minute after his miss. In the second half, Chanusson managed to miss 3 insane chances. It could have made it a bit more comfortable, but he missed all 3. But it doesn't matter, as we win 1-0 against Union Berlin and secure our 2nd Bundesliga title in a row. We don't get a trophy lift though. What the hell? Well, we'll roll the trophy lift from last season then. We've actually won a treble as well. It's a bit of a scuff treble, but a treble nonetheless. Both the Super Cups and the Bundesliga. An incredible journey with the lost German club Hamburger comes to an end, and Nagelsmann has completed his journey with his boyhood club.